Welcome everyone to the 72nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Today's workshop is called The Greatest Moment in Human History. And now we'll move right away to Mr. Keshe of the Keshe Foundation, and he can explain what this workshop is all about.
Okay, good morning again. I do apologize for all the problem this morning. As I said, till yesterday we were teaching in Chani, in Loom, and we have broken away from the Loom structure. And from today, more or less, or we've been here as Keshe Foundation for a month in this building. Pardon? Anyway, I have to hold it there. Okay, no problem. So, okay, no problem. Okay. So now you see these are the teething problem moving overnight from one building to another. I do apologize, but the whole essence of today is not how the sound is the breakthrough in technology. As you know, we teach 5 days a week as to knowledge seekers around the world. And we are mainly internet teaching based now than what I call classroom based. Can you hear it? Can you hear the translation? You have a problem. Hello, can you hear me there now? So it is, we have a translator problem. It's not here with our services outside now. Do you want to come forward to translate? Can we give her another microphone? Okay. I try to shout a bit more. Can you translate now? Oh God. We got a translation problem. Excuse me. Can you, when you translate, they can hear? Yeah? Can you, is it better now? Okay, so we go again. As I said, we have a problem not with the teaching, but you got to understand that every Thursday morning for past nearly a year and a half plus, we teach on internet. So in so many ways, we've been teaching on a daily basis for past 3 months in Trani. Our connection with Loom, we have separated from Loom. The reason being that if we don't separate now, Loom is shutting down in December, more or less, we've been told, then it would have affected us totally in a different way. That you can translate. We can't do. We got an international audience, just we can't stop because we have over 10 million listeners over time. We cannot stop for translation. She has to go as fast as possible. Yeah, so you have to carry on. Yeah, you got to translate as fast as you can because it's a part of teaching. I can't stop. So what happens is that Keshe Foundation, the Space Institute, has moved to this building, and from now on, this is the headquarters of Keshe Foundation. And in time, the spin-offs will come from here. In Loom, we couldn't do anything but teaching in one room. Laboratory section was totally limited, and we had a lot of restrictions with the Loom management. So now, here, we have a freedom to develop, to do the research, and the spin-offs and the rest. The good thing with it is that the Keshe Foundation, by moving here, is getting more embedded in the Italian community. Now we have gone into manufacturing with the Italian companies. in spin-offs, and in time we'll go ahead and see what we can do. But this is a normal teaching day for us, so don't expect, I expect you know something about what we do. If you don't, it's very simple. Keshe Foundation is a Spaceship Institute program, which means we have developed a new technology that you do not need rocket propulsion. And in that level, we developed our own fuel system, we developed our own energy system, we're developing our own food and medical application away from the present work. On the other hand, for our regular knowledge seekers and the audience around the world, and especially I welcome the knowledge seekers in the new research center in China. We enjoyed your presentation on Tuesday. It's marvelous to see how you are working and the things are happening there. On the other hand, we promised you a change. That was the title of today. The knowledge seekers around the world will understand what the change means. At the moment when we started our teaching, if you remember, is there any way I can get rid of this hand phone? It's bothering me. Is it better now? Can you hear me? Rick, is it okay on the line? Okay, this is easy for me to work on. You got, yeah, I don't like this one because it doesn't give me the freedom to walk.
Let's see if we can get this one to work.
Rick, can you hear me? Is it better? Can you hear me now? Okay, I give this back. Can you hear me now? Okay, so it's easy to go. So what we said today is the last day of this term. And what we've done, we have brought a collection of the knowledge, as I promised you. We show you a revolution in energy production. And the way we've done it up to now has been that we bring you the thoughts, we bring you the knowledge, and it's the job of knowledge seekers around the world to add to the knowledge. For the one, I spent 5 minutes to explain for our Italian audience. The development in the technology of Keshe Foundation is that to you, this is a matter, and to us, this is a source of energy for life. This is a copper plate. We have learned how, with different Keshe Foundations and knowledge seekers around the world, to change the material into the nano layer directly on the material. This is a breakthrough. At the moment when you get a nanomaterial, you have to buy something like a popcorn, they call it nanomaterial. Nano means atomic, singular atomic structure. So what we've done, we have managed to change the molecular structure to the singular structure, and then as a single nano structure to be able to separate it, to make it be able to produce different elements in the plasma form. If you have not seen, this is a lot of you, by the physics of today, you cannot see gases in a solid state. We have managed to convert gases to a solid state. We can make it to a powder or whatever at room temperature and pressure. So this is where the breakthrough comes. So every plasma is like a sun. It carries its own energy. And the rest of the things we do is just harvesting the energy which is released by miniature suns, and this is important for us. In reality, what you see here as a plasma is the new revolution in the world of energy. Excuse me, can you keep the background noise down, please? Hello. So what it is, now we produce energy of our own standard, our own understanding, and we apply it. Excuse me, there's too much noise going in the background. So what you need to understand is that the change in the course of the energy creates a change in the habit of man. And so millions of Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers around the world are developing their own system, their own development. And what we have seen time, we're becoming more and more clever with it as knowledge seekers around the world. You got to realize one thing. I started the technology, but now the extension on the knowledge is coming from the rest of the people around the world. So what has happened, our knowledge seekers, today teaching is going to be separated in two separate parts, totally two separate parts. One is to do with energy, and one to do with cleanup and total the structure of the cleanup of the environment. As you know, we've been involved before for a long time, since May of last year, when one of our knowledge seekers, Yukoko, went to Japan and tested for cleanup of cesium and other nuclear materials in Japan live. We had a 3-day session live on the internet where we went through the process of reducing nuclear materials. And that process carried on in the background with Japanese government and others knowing what they're doing, because they literally went to the stations where the material was, they processed it, and through intermediaries with TEPCO and Japanese government, we carried on the same process of negotiation and developing materials, sending materials here from Italy to Japan. And the outcome was, we saw a change on 27th of May by TEPCO publishing a paper, which coincidentally was the time intermediary submitted materials to TEPCO. So what we've done today is this morning, if you go on the website, Keshe Foundation, you will see a new paper released by Keshe Foundation. This paper reads very simply, Keshe Foundation, Contribution to Fukushima Decontamination Solution. We do not claim anything, but what we have given to TEPCO, TEPCO through IAEA has shown to be working. And what they've written in the report is literally a copy of the video we released about a year ago, how to decontaminate materials. But strange enough, in the report of 27th of May, they speak about cleanup of stratonum from the materials of the Fukushima, from the tanks totally, and be kept in reduced amount as residual. This is what we showed in our video. So, strange enough, TEPCO asked us, or through the intermediary, they wanted a solution for the same material around January, February of this. And so we know for a fact that TEPCO has used the technology of the Keshe Foundation, but because me being an Iranian nuclear physicist was against the IAEA restrictions to produce the materials with the help of Iranian nuclear physicists. So what we've seen has been the change of this process. So they have used it, but they will not allow it to be known that it's the structured part of the Keshe Foundation technology. A lot of people say you make a lot of claims, but strange enough is, as we told you, suddenly our situation with TEPCO changed in June, as we wrote to TEPCO, to the intermediary, that you have used our technology, but we are not asking for anything but the confirmation of the use of the technology. And TEPCO found this as insulting or breach of confidentiality. And one of the senior people who has been the intermediary between us and TEPCO was asked to resign because we were not supposed to know that we were talking to TEPCO. And but you got to understand that every Thursday morning for past nearly a year and a half plus, we teach on internet. So in so many ways, we've been teaching on a daily basis for past 3 months in Trani. Our connection with Loom, we have separated from Loom. The reason being that if we don't separate now, Loom is shutting down in December, more or less, we've been told, then it would have affected us totally in a different way. That you can translate. We can't do. We got an international audience, just we can't stop because we have over 10 million listeners over time. We cannot stop for translation. She has to go as fast as possible. Yeah, so you have to carry on. Yeah, you got to translate as fast as you can because it's a part of teaching. I can't stop. So what happens is that Keshe Foundation, the Space Institute, has moved to this building, and from now on, this is the headquarters of Keshe Foundation. And in time, the spin-offs will come from here. In Loom, we couldn't do anything but teaching in one room. Laboratory section was totally limited, and we had a lot of restrictions with the Loom management. So now, here, we have a freedom to develop, to do the research, and the spin-offs and the rest. The good thing with it is that the Keshe Foundation, by moving here, is getting more embedded in the Italian community. Now we have gone into manufacturing with the Italian companies in spin-offs, and in time we'll go ahead and see what we can do. But this is a normal teaching day for us. So don't expect, I expect you know something about what we do. If you don't, it's very simple. Keshe Foundation is a Spaceship Institute program, which means we have developed a new technology that you do not need rocket propulsion. And in that level, we developed our own fuel system. We developed our own energy system. We're developing our own food and medical application away from the present work. On the other hand, for our regular knowledge seekers and the audience around the world, and especially I welcome the knowledge seekers in the new research center in China. We enjoyed your presentation on Tuesday. It's marvelous to see how you are working and the things are happening there. On the other hand, we promised you a change. That was the title of today. The knowledge seekers around the world will understand what the change means. At the moment when we started our teaching, if you remember, is there any way I can get rid of this hand phone? It's bothering me. Is it better now? Can you hear me? Rick, is it okay on the line? Okay, this is easy for me to work on. You got, yeah, I don't like this one because it doesn't give me the freedom to walk.
Let's see if we can get this one to work.
Rick, can you hear me? Is it better? Can you hear me now? Okay, I give this back. Can you hear me now? Okay, so it's easy to go. So what we said today is the last day of this term, and what we've done, we have brought a collection of the knowledge. As I promised you, we show you a revolution in energy production, and the way we've done it up to now has been that we bring you the thoughts, we bring you the knowledge, and it's the job of knowledge seekers around the world to add to the knowledge. For the one, I spent 5 minutes to explain for our Italian audience. The development in the technology of Keshe Foundation is that to you, this is a matter, and to us, this is a source of energy for life. This is a copper plate. We have learned how, with different Keshe Foundations and knowledge seekers around the world, to change the material into the nano layer directly on the material. This is a breakthrough. At the moment when you get a nanomaterial, you have to buy something like a popcorn, they call it nanomaterial. Nano means atomic, singular atomic structure. So what we've done, we have managed to change the molecular structure to the singular structure, and then as a single nano structure to be able to separate it, to make it be able to produce different elements in the plasma form. If you have not seen, this is a lot of you, by the physics of today, you cannot see gases in a solid state. We have managed to convert gases to a solid state. We can make it to a powder or whatever at room temperature and pressure. So this is where the breakthrough comes. So every plasma is like a sun. It carries its own energy. And the rest of the things we do is just harvesting the energy which is released by miniature suns, and this is important for us. In reality, what you see here as a plasma is the new revolution in the world of energy. Excuse me, can you keep the background noise down, please? Hello. So what it is, now we produce energy of our own standard, our own understanding, and we apply it. Excuse me, there's too much noise going in the background. So what you need to understand is that the change in the course of the energy creates a change in the habit of man. And so millions of Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers around the world are developing their own system, their own development. And what we have seen, time, we're becoming more and more clever with it as knowledge seekers around the world. You got to realize one thing. I started the technology, but now the extension on the knowledge is coming from the rest of the people around the world. So what has happened, our knowledge seekers, today teaching is going to be separated in two separate parts, totally two separate parts. One is to do with energy, and one to do with cleanup and total structure of the cleanup of the environment. As you know, we've been involved before for a long time, since May of last year, when one of our knowledge seekers, Yukoko, went to Japan and tested for cleanup of cesium and other nuclear materials in Japan live. We had a 3-day session live on the internet where we went through the process of reducing nuclear materials. And that process carried on in the background with Japanese government and others knowing what they're doing, because they literally went to the stations where the material was, they processed it, and through intermediaries with TEPCO and Japanese government, we carried on the same process of negotiation and developing materials, sending materials here from Italy to Japan. And the outcome was, we saw a change on 27th of May by TEPCO publishing a paper, which coincidentally was the time intermediary submitted materials to TEPCO. So what we've done today is this morning, if you go on the website, Keshe Foundation, you will see a new paper released by Keshe Foundation. This paper reads very simply, Keshe Foundation, Contribution to Fukushima Decontamination Solution. We do not claim anything, but what we have given to TEPCO, TEPCO through IAEA has shown to be working. And what they've written in the report is literally a copy of the video we released about a year ago, how to decontaminate materials. But strange enough, in the report of 27th of May, they speak about cleanup of stratonum from the materials of the Fukushima, from the tanks totally, and be kept in reduced amount as residual. This is what we showed in our video. So strange enough, TEPCO asked us, or through the intermediary, they wanted a solution for the same material around January, February of this. And so we know for a fact that TEPCO has used the technology of the Keshe Foundation, but because me being an Iranian nuclear physicist was against the IAEA restrictions to produce the materials with the help of Iranian nuclear physicists. So what we've seen has been the change of this process. So they have used it, but they will not allow it to be known that it's the structured part of the Keshe Foundation technology. A lot of people say you make a lot of claims, but strange enough is, as we told you, suddenly our situation with TEPCO changed in June, as we wrote to TEPCO, to the intermediary, that you have used our technology, but we are not asking for anything but the confirmation of the use of the technology. And TEPCO found this as insulting or breach of confidentiality. And one of the senior people who has been the intermediary between us and TEPCO was asked to resign because we were not supposed to know that we were talking to TEPCO. And strange enough, the break between us and TEPCO came once they realized that we already knew we are contributing to the situation. And at that point, the arrangement of the scientists of TEPCO to come to Keshe Foundation was stopped. And the intermediary was asked to leave the company. So in a way, TEPCO now uses the Keshe Foundation technology, but again, in hiding. I have two choices. People say, whatever you know. Today, here amongst you, there is the man who's been the backbone of changing the situation in Fukushima in this room. He has done all the documentation. He's been to TEPCO, he's been to Fukushima, he's done the test live with the scientists of the TEPCO on the reactor sites of 1 and 2. And what it is, he's been shortcut by TEPCO in a way because TEPCO betrayed IAEA regulation in working with the Iranian nuclear physicists, what they got on the Iranian nuclear physicists. But on the other hand, the work of this man has saved Japan from what is wrong in the stations. You know, we've been going for this, we explained it, but they say there's a claim, easy done. The man is here in this room. I leave it to him if he wants to participate, because he has changed his life in saving Japan. The Minister of Japan, the head of TEPCO, have betrayed him. They put him on the street from work. He is one of the senior men, he's one of the most honest men I've known. He's been flying back and forth between Italy, Los Angeles, and Japan. He's been live in the laboratories of TEPCO with me watching, advising them, shipping materials in and out for TEPCO. And now that TEPCO realizes if we go international, that TEPCO has breached the international regulations used in Iranian nuclear physicists to help them, they stand the charges of criminal court according to the international law of IAEA. Two things. I have, as the man who's been behind supporting this research with TEPCO, have offered a full collaboration, setting up of Keshe Foundation in Japan with the help of this gentleman. He lives in Japan, he's with a Japanese children. And so TEPCO betrayed, Keshe Foundation does not betray. You got to realize nothing can be done with TEPCO in respect to Keshe Foundation without the permission of the Prime Minister of Japan. This is a high level, to you might not be nothing, but it's a high level diplomacy which will not allow, should not have happened. Because Keshe Foundation cannot, especially me as a scientist, nuclear Iranian physicist, work with TEPCO because this is against the international regulation with the boycotts on the Iranian nuclear physicists. So now two questions comes. I leave it to the gentleman if he wants to clarify who he is and what happened with TEPCO. On the other hand, I'm not the same as TEPCO, betraying people, cheating, lying, and stealing. And the thing is, we gave the technology freely as a gift to the Japanese nation. The Japanese people should know we did not ask for any payback. We did not ask for any payment. We just wanted to know the technology is correct, that it can be used in other nuclear disasters rapidly. And that's the problem. Because now if they confirm it, it means there is a breakthrough, has been a breakthrough. Don't forget, 3 nuclear countries have already tested this material. We know the reports. So in a way, the Japanese Prime Minister is like a peacock putting his head in the sand, thinking nobody sees his backside is up. So what has happened? We published this report, and we're using the text of TEPCO and the backup of the, what do you call, documentation of materials in past few months, and I leave it to the gentleman to come and explain it, how he lost his job helping the Japans. Would you like to join us? If you don't want to, you can stay seated. If you want to, you can join us, because he is now part of the Keshe Foundation structure for development at AIM. Pardon? The thing is, we do not want his face to be seen for international reasons, but I give him my microphone that he can speak himself. You can have the phone.
So here today, I can testify that the materials produced by Keshe Foundation went to TEPCO to a Japanese company and was given, and this communication had been ongoing more than a year. And they tested the material in various levels with cesium, with strontium, and tritium. And the outcome, according to the published paper by the WVN, it seems that the success of the materials are satisfying. But what was told to my company is that the materials are not satisfying enough. And then there had been a problem because my company has a big secrecy agreement with the TEPCO, because we cannot disclose to the suppliers where we supply this material in Japan. And when we offered them the Keshe Foundation help, they accused us with the breach of the secrecy agreement, and we would have a big problem. And my company is a major company in Japan and dealing with all sorts of trading. And in order to avoid my company go down with this big problem, I had to resign. And for now, this seems like this solved the problem. But I don't know what the future will gonna bring to us. So, but in any way, in any result, it looks like now the Fukushima is safe. And I think, and I strongly believe that it is just because of the materials provided by the Keshe Foundation. And this is all I can say at the moment without giving any details, because giving more details would probably put me in a really difficult situation. Also my company, and like many people are working for my company. So I prefer not to give the details, but I want to say that, and again I want to repeat that the Fukushima, if there was a cleanup in Fukushima, it is just because of Keshe Foundation. Thank you.
So now we see this is the third time betrayal by different governments in respect to the nuclear industry cleanup. But on the other hand, it's a very good news. It shows the technology is correct. You have to realize there is a payback time on this. And the payback time on this has been that in Fukushima, in TEPCO accepting that they use the system, they had to buy the material from the company which this gentleman represents, and this was a multi-million deal, which now TEPCO does not need to pay because they're reneging on it. So it's a stealing of technology and finances from the Japanese company, but that's their problem. We are not interested in this. All we are interested is that now is proven again. It was done by SCK, Belgium Nuclear Center. It was done by the Italian Nuclear Center. And strange enough, the Italians, the Japanese, in the writing of the report to IAEA, which is published and accepted by IAEA for decontamination of the tanks, is more or less same sentence as Italian nuclear, ENIA, which means they came to the same conclusion, and ENIA here in Italy came to the same conclusion of cleanup 12 months before, because they did the research on the same material. So it's not coincidental that we don't know. We already knew through 2 nuclear centers around the world that the technology works and what should be the byproducts. And strange enough, in Fukushima report in TEPCO, by TEPCO, they refer to that point. And what it is in the report. You can go on the Keshe Foundation website and download it. Is that in the report, you see the word calcium. What they've done, waters of Japan is full of calcium, and this calcium has been the biggest problem. And the minute, through understanding of this system, they could reduce the calcium and absorb the other nuclear materials, then there was no need for intermediary. Because the beauty of the whole structure is that cesium links with the carbon. What it does, it doesn't destroy the nuclear material. What happens is that nuclear material creates radiation. The CO3 with calcium create a gravitational field absorption. So the nuclear materials lock into the calcium CO3. And you still have the nuclear material. If you go on the video of the Keshe Foundation we made over a year ago, we said this is how it should work. You trap, but you don't destroy the nuclear material. And in the report of Fukushima by TEPCO about this nuclear material, read it. It says there's still a small residue of material because that's where all the nuclear material is. And strange enough, in the report of ENIA, Italian Nuclear Center, the same thing is stated. Nuclear residue in the residue of the mass in the water. So my advice to the Japanese Prime Minister is resign. I'll put so much pressure till you resign because you're a thief. You should not steal from your nation. The reason is, it's not a stolen from Keshe Foundation. The reason is because by us knowing correct procedure, how we have developed to be used, the system to produce this material is simple. It can be given to the farmers. It can be given to the people who have land that have contaminated water to clean up the land for themselves. This is where the thieving comes from. Not from Keshe Foundation, from Italian nation, from Japanese nation. Because it's very simple. All you need to do is, as you've seen in our videos, you take the soil, you add a few drops of this into it, the material residual sits down in the liquid with the soil. The soil is cleaned up, you extract the residual, and you have a clean soil, clean water. This is very simple. I can show it to you in a very simple way. The process is what TEPCO has done is that if I take this soil, This is the soil. If I get this soil and take, as we've seen, this is what I've shown in the video, and this is what Yukoko did in Tokyo, in Japan, in Fukushima. And if I add the soil into it, dilute it, and then add the material to it, which is the special materials, what happens is that in time, the nuclear material locks into this, and then through a special system, you can extract it. So what happens is now there is no radioactivity in the material. Once you extract, soil is clean, water is clean, and it can be used. But I've got the news for you. The soil you just seen has come from Fukushima. This is the material TEPCO supplied to come through international transportation posts to here. So it's not a soil from outside. This is Fukushima soil. I'm correct? Yes? The gentleman from TEPCO intermediary confirms. So now you see nuclear material from Fukushima here on the table, and the same process applied. You can do the same with this. Seal is still on it. This is another nuclear material, water, from Fukushima, sent by TEPCO. The intermediaries could not send unless something TEPCO approved to come that they could test. So now you see Fukushima contaminated water. You see Fukushima contaminated material supplied by TEPCO on the authorization of the Prime Minister of Japan, because Japanese government companies at this level cannot work with Keshe Foundation. It's against IAEA international law. So IAEA knows the breaking of the technology embargo, and they have allowed it. Japanese have used it, and you thought it's not a joke, but they've sent us 2 different types of contaminated material. What's the contamination on them when they measured it at TEPCO? 6,000 becquerel. This is measured by TEPCO before it was sent. The reason this material was sent this way was that the scientists from TEPCO were supposed to be here on the 1st of July. Am I correct? And the answer you hear is from the gentleman from the intermediary company who's been sacked. So they were bringing the latest machinery here with them, where the material has already arrived at Keshe Foundation contaminated. We have submitted this material to the Italian Fire Brigade. They were here 2-3 days ago. They brought in the special unit, testing it. They said we can keep it, and then it goes to ENIA and the rest of it in the due course. So it's not that it's here illegally. I immediately on arrival informed ENIA, because we have a direct line to the management, that we received such a material 2-3 days ago, was tested. It shows another deception procedure by TEPCO. They are sending nuclear material using innocent people who do not know, international posts, how many posts will get contaminated to get themselves saved. But the people who save them, they get rid of them because there's a lot of money. So I told you before, we are prepared to give these samples to any authority, IAEA or any other government, to come to check and sample match with the Fukushima soil. So the reality is that Keshe Foundation knowledge for decontamination is highly correct, highly effective. That a government for past, since 2011, since Fukushima, could not solve the problem in the tanks. They approached the intermediary, the material was sent, and within 2 months, 1,500 tanks containing in excess of 400,000 liters each have been cleaned up of the material which they asked us to clean up. You got to realize one thing. We kept all the communications in writing. But the thing which even the intermediary didn't know till this morning, we are already negotiating with TEPCO in the background. That's why TEPCO, instead of handling directly with us, breaking international code, they used the intermediary, and then when they got the results, they dumped the intermediary. Is it too hot? Yeah, the cooling system needs to work. So now this brings 2 points. TEPCO has already released, I especially asked when this report was getting done by the knowledge seekers, not to add any private emails into it. No communication which leads to TEPCO to be done to put pressure. But we can release all of it. I can show you, can you go downstairs in your front? There's an envelope with all the shipping documents, please. We can show you everything, all the DHL documents, all the shipping of materials to which has gone to Tokyo, to Japan for decontamination. So we have enough evidential support to ask for the TEPCO to reconsider, or we release enough information on the internet so that the Japanese start using our technology to help themselves in respect of TEPCO. So the situation is very simple. Instead of sending nuclear material through international posts, not through the standard legal procedures IAEA has set for transportation of radioactive materials, using innocent people and then finding a way to demolish their lives, I ask again for Japanese government clear indication. Don't forget, we are proceeding with other sides of the development of the Keshe Foundation, and in due course, if TEPCO does not reach a result, we will put it into international meetings we are due to make declaration and presentations. So this will not stop for one reason. A thief is a thief by nature, even steals a gift. You never steal a gift when it's given to you freely, unless you're by habit a thief. And this cannot happen. And in reality, if this is good for me and my students to be exposed to help the Japanese to save their lives, and the management of TEPCO to find themselves gold out of this, I think I deserve an answer from TEPCO, and especially from Office of the Prime Minister of Japan, because unless he doesn't authorize it, TEPCO cannot breach international laws. TEPCO is a national company. Breach of international regulation at this level means sanctions by the Prime Minister. So if the Italian postman can be contaminated, the Italian pilots which fly this thing into Italy, the Italian postman who delivers it to us can be contaminated to save the Japanese life, or the bank account of the Prime Minister of Japan, which told you before how many $1 million they make out of this, we need an answer. Why should the Italians get contaminated for the Japanese Prime Minister to become wealthy? This is the problem. So if these materials supplied by TEPCO to reach Keshe Foundation to find a solution for them to fly materials to bring in, to find it, to go and solve the problem in TEPCO, I just want to ask one question. Is the life of a postman, Italian postman, is more than the management of TEPCO? Why should an Italian postman be contaminated with highly radioactive materials for Japanese Prime Minister to stay in office? You got to realize one thing, why the problem is. We declared months ago, through the test in Fukushima in May of last year, that reactor number 1 in Fukushima is loaded with plutonium, nuclear weapon proliferation. Iran was taken and put under heavy sanctions, accused of being able to make such a thing. Japan has already loaded the reactors with plutonium, and in a test where, in the second cleanup, we saw 134, it was obvious plutonium was in the load. And if you want, I'll walk to the gentleman and he'll tell you what the Japanese management of TEPCO have told them. We have to deal with him, but we don't want to. Do you want to repeat their words? I repeat it. You see why they knew they were breaking international law. What was the word?
I don't want to deal with this, but I have to deal with this.
This being Keshe Foundation, there is no solution, but there is only one solution, that's Keshe Foundation. So, the dealing, they knew they are breaking international law. The dealing is contamination, breaking of international law. If I found nuclear material in my possession, you know what they did to me in Belgium? They tried to accuse me of. I've never touched beta ray. I use alpha ray, which comes from the smoke detectors. How come the Japanese people can kindly send their contaminated material to the Italian post wants to kill them to save their lives? There is a need for an answer for this. And that is why I ask for resignation of the Prime Minister of Japan for deception and breach of international law. I will not stop this because I'm a nuclear physicist, and in my position as a nuclear physicist, I can take this through IAEA. Because when I submit my paper next week to IAEA in Vienna, they have to answer me, and I'll ask the Iranian government, nuclear inspectors, support team in Vienna to ask for full clarification what was used, and we get to the bottom of it in TEPCO. Because don't forget one thing, Japan and Germany, under international law since the Second World War, cannot handle nuclear materials without authorization of IAEA. They cannot even buy a screw for a nuclear reactor without the signing authorization of IAEA. And all the nuclear reactors in Japan, A to Z, from the dust to the top, is done by United States. They have to receive authorization from the American government, and then American government asks IAEA to issue a license. So when they found the solution how to take the nuclear material out, the American government already been informed. They took it to IAEA in Vienna. IAEA approved it. Then the Japanese could use it. This is the procedure. This is an international procedure for Germany and Japan to handle any nuclear material. In Germany, you have nuclear power stations, but it's totally controlled by the Americans. The same with Japan. And one of the reasons Japan and Germany are very heavily invested in nuclear, because it's service to pay part of the death of the Second World War to the Americans, because all the systems are made by the Americans to benefit them. So this comes to one conclusion, and it's very easy. We are not talking about dust, a few grams. This is nearly a kilogram material, highly contaminated. I touch it, I feel it, because I have that sensation with the nuclear, that if this is good for an Italian postman, it must be good to sit on the office of the table of the Prime Minister of Japan too. Blood is the same, irrespective of position. So the same is this. If this contaminated water from Fukushima could be here for me to handle, to save the Japanese, at least my life needs a respect by Japanese. Thank you for helping us. So there are thieves, and I will take this documentation to IAEA. I will ask for the Iranian government support to take it through, and we'll report everything as we go along. Because IAEA has approved it. Japanese never declared to the IAEA they've used the Iranian nuclear physicist technology. They've broken the ethos. IAEA can wash their hands. We didn't know we approved it. We thought the Japanese done themselves. But there is enough evidence to support that we delivered the material. So it comes to one point, and that is now the Italians will benefit by this. In Italy, you have huge areas of contaminated radioactive materials. There are a lot of lands in Italy, especially in Sicily. Past few weeks, they've found a huge amount of it. So it's the job of the Italians to take this to your government and tell them there is a solution to do a cleanup. And this will create thousands and thousands of jobs. It's an envelope, Caroline. It's an envelope with the shipping documents on it. This will create thousands of jobs in Italy because materials has been done. So much unemployment by deception of TEPCO. A lot of jobs is lost in Italy too. A lot of people contaminated too that cannot use it. Are you leaving? Okay. So now you understand exactly how the game is played, and that's what I said for weeks. That the Italian nation, now that we are a Keshe Foundation in Italy, we are based here, we are set to create a lot of jobs with the production, all the production of all our materials, all our systems, all our reactors in Europe, as of 2 weeks ago, is concentrated in Italy. So we are creating jobs. Vince, can we have the picture of the systems which are getting, it's designed by an Italian designer. It's going to be in the market within next week, 2 weeks. And these are the reactors. These are the jobs we start creating in Italy. The technology is so correct that what we were producing in China, the China still produces. It's a huge market. We support the Keshe Foundation in China, the Chinese Foundation, and other people. But from now on, you buy everything you buy from Keshe Foundation is made in Italy, designed by Italians, and it's got a beautiful flavor of Italians. These are the market within the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks. Is all the preliminary job is done. Can you come up with it? What's the problem? You're looking for a USB stick. And these are the systems that are coming this morning. You understand what they can do. This is done. It's a beautiful Italian taste, Italian flavor, and it will create thousands of jobs in Italy. You will come to understand the potential of this technology in Italy, because you have to produce all these materials. You have to produce all the other materials goes with this production, lift, motion, energy, everything else. And this is to bring a lot of Italians out of unemployment. We already have started investing in Italy for production of these materials. The foundation is paying itself to support. These are the new reactors. You can create energy through these reactors. People who work around Keshe Foundation, they know how to use it. They know how it can be applied. Can we have the star formation? This is singular. The Keshe Foundation people from next week, you can order these directly. It's beautifully done. It's gone into manufacturing now. Can we have the star formation? You need 4 of these to be able to make a system to create lift. We will bring in the lift technology in the coming months in Italy, where you can literally lift a car or whatever you need or produce energy. This is known as the star formation, comes with a power supply. It's totally made from A to Z in Italy, Italian design, Italian labor work, and everything will be sent out of here worldwide. And then, as you know, we have released the energy production unit, which you can connect to your car and run a car without the fuel, more or less. You can connect into your house and run the energy of the house freely. That is already marketed for 2 weeks, 10 days at the moment with the Keshe Foundation. Again, you see it. Italian flavor. This has gone into production. I authorized it 2 days ago. So this is the size of a cola bottle. You can put it in your car, a wire inside it. You connect it into your ashtray, cigarette lighter. You can drive the car more or less without any fuel. The same size, you see it, it's the same structure as before. You plug it into the house. You don't need to buy any energy. But the beauty with this is, if you've been around Keshe Foundation, for every kilowatt hour you use at home, you put 5 kilowatts hour back into the national grid. So you become a supplier in your house. The principle of this, if you've been on the Keshe Foundation website, has been on. This is the technology. As you see all the fans here, even your camera, your projector is run through this system. The more you use, the more energy you put back into the grid. So for every kilowatt you use, you put 5 kilowatts back into the grid, which means your energy at home is free, plus you support, because it means they don't need to import oil. They don't need to import any fuel. But the same technology, when you add it into your system, is we don't say so. If you come close, you see. This has been running for 3 weeks now in our teaching room. It's been on from the day it was put on. If you look, we have used 20 kilowatt hour. We're not talking about watt. We're talking about kilowatt hour. 20 kilo, it's like running a bar, heating bar of 2 kilowatts in the winter for 10 hours. We've taken 20 kilowatt hour from the grid, but the good thing with it is, if you look at the above one, is 111 kilowatt hour. We have put in back into Italian grid 111 kilowatts, 5.5 times more than what we consumed. This will change the course of the energy in Italy and the rest of the world. Is already used in England, is already been developed further by the Keshe Foundation supporters in a different form in Philippines, in India, in China, and people are literally making it for themselves and giving it to the others to make what we call these beads. These beads are made in Philippines last week. They've gone crazy with it, from dry leaf of a tree. And they're producing a beautiful system with it, which means the present electronics, if you go from here to America, in Europe, we use 220, 240. In America, you are 120, 110. The system itself supplies at 110, 120. You don't need any electronics. If you are at 50 hertz or 60 hertz, the system adjusts itself automatically. So if you have any changes, the beauty of it is you're looking at it, but you don't realize. Watch what is happening. You are using an AC and a DC at the same time, which means you don't need inverters anymore. As you came, you drove into the property here, you saw the solar cells. These solar panels produce DC, then have to go to inverter to become an AC for national grid. With this technology, you don't need to. You don't need to invert. Automatically inverts itself at the point of need. I can have a system half 110, the other half 220, 240. We have systems which is being brought from America, which is the American system. We plug it next to each other. You see the American system and a European system run parallel without any inverters. AC, DC at the same time. But the whole beauty of it is that it costs less than $1 to produce, but it costs less than a couple of dollars to produce. You can do it at home. And that's the beauty with the Keshe Foundation. We teach you how to use it at home. Thank you very much. This is what I said. I just interrupt. These are the shipping documents from Japan of radioactive material through Italian post. Everything can be registered, backtracked to Tokyo. We are not talking anything. You can see Japanese shipping bills, post, and you can see Italian post documents. So all this comes to roost. We have kept, especially, I knew this one day will come, we kept immaculate records of all communication, telephone calls to TEPCO, to the management of TEPCO, before they put the intermediary. They knew the answer is good, but they couldn't break the embargo. They found the intermediary. Now that the situation is sorted, they get rid of the intermediary. And poor intermediary doesn't even, till this morning, knew that we are already talking to TEPCO anyway. A man with his children loses his job to save the life of, meager life of the Prime Minister of Japan and TEPCO management. Now, we come back to what we said. The beauty with this is that add more to it. If you add to make this one like 40 kilowatt hour, you will put 200 kilowatt hour back into the grid. So this changes the economy of Italy. This changes everything in Italy. This brings so much money in the central bank of Italy that you're paying every day out for fuel to Saudi Arabia, to Middle East, to Russia, that money can be used to create jobs in Italy. It's a huge amount of money saved by the Italians. We are teaching it to you free. There is no patent, there is no copyrights, everything is free for your nation. It's a gift you cannot refuse. There's a gift which you don't need any authorization. Let me tell you why you don't need. A lot of people tell us has to have registration and everything else. When you signed supply with your government, no one ever considered that you will supply AC or a DC. It's all balanced on the power of AC. Now you're producing DC at home, it means you made your own battery. There is no rule anywhere in EU or anywhere around the world which stops you from producing battery at home. So, in a way, you're just producing a battery at home. You buy 2 plates, you get an acid, you put it at home, you drive your car. It's the same process. There is no regulation anywhere in the world to stop you to making a battery at home. And, oh, you have a problem with your cameras. Okay. Sorry about that. So now you understand. Well, let me tell you something. This system of what we call gases in nanomaterial, producing 1 to 5, has been out only for 3 weeks, 4 weeks. And people who are in this game around Keshe Foundation, millions of people, have gone crazy with it. This system, being on the edge of science, if you're an electrical engineer, understand you cannot produce AC/DC without any inverter as much as you like. There is no limit in how much energy you can. There is, up to now, you go to a shop, you say, I want a 2 kilowatt generator. They sell you a 2 or 3 kilowatt generator. There is no limit to this. You can take as much as you like, because the more you take, the more you put in the grid. But even this, 3 weeks, 4 weeks old, is already obsolete. It's been made totally obsolete from energy point of view, because the knowledge seekers here, we told you on Wednesday, we've been telling you for the past 2 or 3 days, watch, make sure you don't miss Thursday's teaching. Because, would you like to roll it in? These 2 of you. These are the knowledge seekers, the banner, the hang dryer, the coat hanger. These are the knowledge seekers of the Keshe Foundation. This system produces 1 to 5. The new system, which utilizes the plasma technology in its true sense, and I know a lot of you have been waiting for this, is this. Oh, we lost the camera. It's what? What's the problem? Why did we lose the connection to the screen? It'll come back. And it says, no, it's there. The computer has shut down. They have to put the computer back on. K1 just touched it. Let me explain to you while they're fixing this up. You see these guys running around, trying to fix the sound and everything. These are Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers and supporters. They have come from all over the world to be here today. Vince is a webmaster. He's flown in all the way from Canada. K1 has come from Austria, and Richard has come all the way from Holland with the equipment to be able to test that when we open the institute in October here, we have in September, everything is correct. That's why you saw the delay. So we are well-known supporters around the world. We literally bring knowledge from all over the world. We have no respect for a piece of paper, doctors, professors, engineers, because Keshe Foundation supporters, according to the estimates we have, runs over between 100 to 200 million people worldwide. And we see it. We see the response. Keshe Foundation has become the top 4,000 websites in China alone in the last week. This is out of 1.7 billion people with millions of network. We have reached the 4,000 points, and in the coming weeks, we'll reach the top 1 or 2,000. You just go on the internet and check it. And the growth is the same. So what you were waiting for, what we explained, now is back on, is that that system is 1 to 5. Our knowledge seekers, watch this, you're going to kick yourself. First of all, you can connect it to the car, you can see a car plug. And secondly, I'll show you the top. It's the same unit. The difference is this. The power supply in this method is thousands of times. It's so powerful that at the moment in this place, we cannot control it. It's been made by knowledge seekers. The difference is now we are using, before you were coating the nanomaterial, making a gas out of it, and making a bead out of it. But one piece which you did not realize is that if you put the nanomaterial, which is magnetic field, and make a coils out of it, in a coil, you create a closed loop nuclear energy without nuclear. And so what happens, this has to be expanded. You see 2 levels here. One, this is producing so much energy, which is scaring. The minute we connect it to the main, it blows the fuse up, because it is a huge amount of energy. A lot of you, can we have a close camera here, please? Anybody can come right close to this one. Let me explain to you this. Yeah, that's perfect. If you come more close camera. This is the beads. This is another version of this one, in a simple way. Actually, this was made 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning by Marco. If you look at the beads, now it's the same process as beads. But every bead has been re-emphasized, regenerized. Here, what you see is 1 bead regeneration, and the rest just in series or parallel. Here, every single bead has been regenerized. But it's a nano-coated material, which what we done, a straight wire. Where did I sing? We had it here. Oh, most probably it'll be here. Oh, it's gone before I know it. Pardon? There is a, oh no, I know where it is. I hid it myself. It's down here. All we've done, we have twisted the wire into a coil. all it is, turn this into a coil. So Armand has done this. You can do it different ways. A small coil or a large coil is the same process. You create gravitational magnetic field and you energize back to back. We estimate the power of this is in thousands of kilowatts. This cannot be connected to a normal circuitry unless you go back to single beads, and the same is with this. Armand has been trying to, what do you call it, harvest the energy of this one. The minute we connect, fuses blow because it's such a huge power is fed back into the grid. So what happens is, if you understand this, and we saw our Philippine supporters showing the wire over the battery to run a car with a lot of efficiency with less fuel. Now I show you the breakthrough this gives you. This is a car key. Most of you in the West use it because one has a remote control of opening and closing door. Now, this is your battery, this is your power supply, this is everything you need. You put your key in the ignition and becomes your power supply. It's been built inside. It needs to be, this is a prototype. In the coming days, we release the end. It's been built inside, understanding the technology, and you need refining, and all you need to do is you have so much energy that you can drive your car with it. You don't need to go to no fuel station because when your key is in your pocket, is your car not driving. All you do, you have two lines you connect, and in a way you've seen when the thieves steal your car, they don't go to the ignition, they go underneath, they pull a wire out, they connect the two together and they drive off. There we are. You connect this to those two wires and you can drive your car as long as you want. You don't need to go to Tesla, pay $5,000 or $6,000 and buy a Tesla car to go to charge your house up. The charge sits in your pocket. I ask you, knowledge seekers around the world, please develop this as fast as you can. This is the beauty with Keshe Foundation knowledge seekers. We don't patent anything. We teach each other as fast as we can. The way the circuitry is set, I know some of you are going to put it on the internet very quickly, is two loops, one inside, one outside, and is fed back. At the same time, we use one of the beads as a battery charger supporter. You can put a rechargeable battery inside to start a process to charge up, and it costs less than, I think, 5 cents. You can energize your car. You lot have been running cars in London and around the world, and now, instead of putting beads in, you have a car key which runs your energy. Go home, connect it into the plug, you serve your house. So the power is so immense. Please be careful what you're doing because it needs a lot of understanding. Don't jump in as you did with a bandwagon of beads. But there is an extension. The extension to this knowledge is literally create, there is a reactor. This is built by Armand. The 3 loops, you can create energy the way you want, but in the future, I'll teach you how you use this as zero-time communication transportation. What it means, you use a single core, and if you divide it the correct way, you produce as much as you want. You can communicate through it at any zero time at zero cost. You don't need to pay this horrendous amount of money you pay to Vodafone to steal from you. You use 2 megabytes too much for telephone numbers. In the coming days, it will be done. But the beauty of this is we are a plasma technology based. So we came away, and we have come away in order, as I've explained to you, out of matter into plasma. This is a matter-plasma mixture. This is going to matter, but plasma coated. In the past 3-4 weeks, I think you're going to bring your baby out. It's there, it's hiding behind the curtain. We have developed a technology which uses the star formation with direct plasma energy, which means we tap into the sun. We don't need to use the energy in the periphery of the sun. We go directly into the plasma. I'm very proud of this. I was telling to Marco, this is a proud moment for the foundation. You put it on the table. On the table, yes, that's where it should stand. It's a beautiful thing. This is the first time you see this. This has a lot of application. Because, why? It changes not only the use of the plasma in this form. For the first time, we use the plasma directly. We managed to find a way to go into the plasma and tap into it. We don't need to stand around the sun to get warm. We can go inside the sun and take what we want. But with the difference that if you go back to the teaching of the Sensano, when we were teaching, when we put the star formation on the floor, I kept on saying you have to find a way to get plasma from one reactor to another without touching matter. Now, if you understood and you remember that part, you got your answer. When you nano-coat these springs, don't forget, it's very easy to make. You get a wire, you get yourself a bar, and this is your spring. All you do, you twist it. Don't nano-coat first. Make your springs first, and then nano-coat. And then what happens is very simple. If you look, the coating is a plasma-coated nanomaterial, and now you have a free entity. When you have a wire, you have a nano-coating, but you have a copper inside it. Now you have nano-coating, free passage. So for the first time, if you understand this, you can tunnel energy, plasma, any way you like from one reactor to another, tap into it, go inside the plasma, and what I told you, if you understand how to do it, connect this end and collect plasma. What I told you in the coming time, I'll teach you how to make food out of nothing. You tap this, it's a plasma free, like the sun. When the ray leaves the sun, when the energy of the plasma leaves the sun, it doesn't decide if it's going to be in your potato, in your rice, or in your skin. It's the condition at the point of arrival which changes it to what it wants to be. So now, if you can manage to create a condition on this end, you can have a banana, you can have a steak, you can have clothing. But you have to understand how to convert the material at this end, the condition. This is the same as you eat orange, you see meat, and then when it goes into your body, at a point of need, it becomes your nail, it becomes your eye cell, or it becomes your toe cell. Now, knowledge is that much. But the things you're always been interested in is energy. If you can do what we've done here, this is a standard battery. It's going to cost a lot of money to change things. Now you can make batteries which last a long time, a lifetime. I'm sure the knowledge seekers will show us more. We have added 3 layers. So when you add, you place it in the battery, you don't need to change your appliances. You do not need, you cut yourself off again, Kevin? Okay. You do not need, do you remember what I told you? We put batteries that you don't need to recharge. If you structure this correctly, you're talking about 20, 30 years battery without recharge. The beauty of it is, when it needs 1.5 volt, it'll be 1.5 volt. When it's 12 volts, it'll be 12 volts. If it's a DC supply, it'll be DC. If it's an AC supply, it'll be AC. So this is the breakthrough. I promise you, we'll show you things before we break up. We're going on holiday for 6 weeks. But you knowledge seekers around the world, you've got to work for the next 6 weeks to show us what you have when we come back. Correct? The 2 masters say yes. So this is where the change comes. But don't forget what we explained. We have learned to tap into the essence of creation, which is a plasma. And now you see what Marco has made for you. I've never hidden things like this. It's very nice. It looks like a vision. Rabbit comes up. You can come as close as. I'll explain this technology, what it is. If you come close, you should see it on the camera. These beads are full of gas, a composite gas. Each bead is one sun and more power in it than any sun you ever know. In a specific formation, we produce so much energy that we cannot control. You can see here, if you can go to where my finger is, it burns itself out. But it has one advantage. If you look at the bottom, you will see the star formation. Can you go there? You see the star formation. The star formation is your flight system. Guys in China, I asked you to be online today, especially for this. The fat boy. Look at the fat boy you have. You build a lot of fat boys. You're testing. You reduce weight. This is part of the control system of fat boy. The inner ring creates gravity. The outer ring, you see, this one, I have to get something you can see it. This one creates magnetical repulsion. You decide according to the beads which side you want to fly. This is the basis of your control system for flight system you're developing. So what this means, your system you created, this is no different than the energy system you already paid €500 for. I told you, in time, your €500 you paid, or €800 you pay for your energy system, is being made that you can change the plate or adjust the plate, that it becomes your flight system. So you just addition to it, we teach you. You have a full star formation. You have the fifth reactor. And now you control where you want. Mark has made a very good system. It is it. Look, he lifts it. He wants to go to the left, going down. He lifts it. He wants to go up. That's where it's going to be. So the control system is very crude. This system is one of the most beautiful systems I've seen for a long time. I thank Marco for building it. But when I explained to him what I want to make, he spent a lot of time, 10, 11 o'clock in the lab for a few days, and this is what it is. Because what you do here, the inner circle looks like this. The inner circle looks like this, with the beads on it. 6 beads, 2, 4, 6 beads, covering the full, 360 degrees. Don't forget, gravity always is stronger, needs to be in the center. Then you have the outer one, which has 12 beads. When you want to go to this direction, you tune this with these to create directional motion for your flight. The Chinese Keshe Foundation in Zhangjiang with the fat boy, you should understand how you can do it. What's the name of the guy in Malta who was showing us his reactor? Pardon? Matthews. Vince, hello? What's the name of the guy who was showing his system to us? Madras. Madras, you have to understand, instead of the tubes you have in your reactor, if you can use these bead condition, but forget this is not beads. These are cores full of GaNs. And then you decide how much you want to increase the gravity, or how much, which one are you on? Or how much you want to increase your magnetical. This brings you going down, this brings you going up. This is the control system you were looking for. This is one of the reasons Fat Boy in China has a problem. There he goes, 11,000 euro. Now 12,000. So now you see for the first time control system for your flights. When the system flies, now you dictate which way you want to go, how much you go down, how much you come up. It's a very nice system. Thank you very much, Marco. But don't forget, here we use wires. This was built, and I explained to you in a teaching of a couple of days ago. Now, if you add pipes with the wires, replace them with the springs, you can transfer plasma. Now you can fine-tune the control of energy, the lift at the same time. You don't need wires to go from matter to plasma. Now you deal directly plasma to plasma, and this is a major breakthrough in the world of energy and plasma technology. Iranian plasma physicists are unique in their work because they understand the creation. And this is why, as I said, plasma technology is the future. Because now, if you understand what you've done and what I just explained to you, you can tune, you can put one plasma line to this one, create oxygen, you put another plasma line to this one, produce fat, and you put another plasma there and produce brick, gold, whatever you need. Because then you decide on the energy transfer at the end of production. You've seen the CO2 kits where you put the two copper plates and zinc plates, and you created a condition for creating absorption of the carbon. You created a condition. Now what you have to do is the same procedure. Your plasma transfer, and at the end you create a condition what you want in that position. You change the copper with something else, you get that material where it embeds into it. So now we have gone partially into full production of materials as you wished, as you want. I know by the time we come back from holidays, most of you will go crazy with this thing. Remember, to get caustic, to get nanomaterials, to get aluminium foil, it needs money. It needs somebody have to have a caustic. Any of you can produce the spring at no cost, anywhere. Just strip a house wire in the house. Don't forget a few things. How you space these will give you a lot of flexibility. How you close these gives you a lot of flexibility. So you decide how you do it, and then you'll find out you can produce a lot of energy. This process is part of what we are producing as a power stations for your cars in the coming days. So now you understand we are getting to the point of energy away from the matter state into the plasma state, exactly the way the lymph in your body becomes what it needs at a point of need. So your body decides you need calcium in one nail, at that point it produces calcium. Now your knowledge is in that level that you decide what to do while you're still flying and producing energy at the same time. This system power, have you got a problem in the back? What's the problem? Keep going, keep going. No problem. I know something, you see me shaking my hand. Touching this bag of radioactive material, I feel the pain. I wonder how the postman felt when he carried it and brought it from Italy to the house, wherever in Italy. This is a criminal act by TEPCO providing the material to save Japanese, because I still feel the titillation in my finger. So now you see how everything changes. A lot of you especially from Keshe Foundation in Philippines. You're telling us that you are driving your cars with a wire on the battery. I explained to you how it was before, and now you don't need even to use the battery. If you understood how to use this principle, understand it, it'll take a lot of people months or weeks before they find how this works. Don't get fooled by its simplicity. It's not that simple. You have to understand the energy needs, you have to understand the energy transfer, you have to understand the operation of the plasma, then you'll come to a new conclusion. If we can create so much plasmatic energy, put this on a cancer point. You decide the strength of the cancer reversal within minutes. This is why we partially stop the development of the cancer research till we get the data that we can apply it directly. We go into the plasma technology medical, not in the matter level medical. That everybody can use it directly. So in so many ways, if you look at it, if you can create in the reactor the gravitational magnetic field of, let's say, a cancer cell, through the transfer of the magnetic gravitational field, the same way as what we did with nuclear material in Fukushima, you link up the energy. I walked away with my pens, God help me. There we go. What happened in Fukushima, we showed you in the videos, and TEPCO has used it. You get the nuclear material locked into the gas. In this process, as a dynamic plasma, you understand gravitational magnetism of the cancer cell, and then you transfer the energy. Very easy in taking the strength away from it, or fields away from it. It does not allow cancer to grow any further, because as you change the environment, this takes minutes. It can be cancer anywhere. And in the coming days, with the Keshe Foundation Health, what you call the spin-offs opening on the upper floors in this building, we'll open a health center for cancers worldwide. People can come in within hours with cancer, they can go home without cancer. The process started, we invested in this machine for it. Our knowledge seekers who are working in the background, they're just preparing the materials, we paid for the systems for it, and then we show the new process, how to convert. We are running a trial in Canada, we see what the results come, and then we announce it as it comes. So now, this is why we put that heading on today's website. The 72 teaching will be a change for humanity, because now anyone can produce anything they like at any point the way they like to do it. If you understand even this simple process, where is my dome? I have another news for our Japanese people. You can create gravitational magnetic field of all the nuclear materials which TEPCO has launched on your land, and embed this in the back of your car, in a ship, and extract all the nuclear materials inside, safe, you can deliver it back to TEPCO. Because you do the same process, the change of the course of the knowledge, I keep on repeating, is for the first time in a man's history, we always were taught that magnet is just like this. Two magnets stuck together, you have a magnet. But now, because you can make a plasma, you can make magnets for anything. You can make magnet for wood, You can make gravitational magnetic field of a cell. You can make gravitational magnetic field of gold, and just fly over Central Bank of England, empty the central bank. Very easy. You want to mine gold, you don't need to dig for a gold. You create gravitational magnetic field of the gold, the same as what you've done with cancer, the same as what we've done in Fukushima. Mining does not need digging anymore. You just produce gravitational magnetic field of gold. So, do you have the title of this week's teaching? Can we have it? Vince? He says 1 second. Now you understand why we chose title. Is title chosen by the Keshe Foundation website managers because they feel what the knowledge is going to be. And that explains exactly what we said from the beginning is going to be the point change for humanity. Because it's not in this room. Within next 72 hours, within the next 7 days till the next teaching, over 100 million people around the world will listen, will act, and they will show. That's what the great in the human history, where the man is freed from the shackle of matter, free as a plasma, free as the universe. Because you can tap into anything, anytime, anywhere, because the principle is exactly the same everywhere around the world in the universe. You don't need to come back to Earth to pick up fuel. You know how to convert the energy. You've seen how you produce gases, which they said it cannot be done at room temperature. Now you can produce anything you like in the universe. With this system, with this understanding of conversion of energy, man has become for the first time totally independent of Earth for resources. The change, this is the greatest moment for man, not by talk, but by scientists. But don't forget, as I always say, we show you the first step. Is you lot will have to do the rest. The Keshe Foundation Research Centers in London, with Alex, we're setting up another one in India in the coming months. The one in China, we support the ones in Canada to be set up with Rick, and the one in the United States, which is going to be done through Armin, and the rest of the world will support the changes that no government can stop the change anymore. No government can do it. Thank you very much. But sit down, please. There is now you who's got to decide how you take, when you take, as much as you take. This is a total freedom. Up to now, even till before we start this teaching, you still had a shackle of where to find the gas, where to find the caustic, where to find whatever to make the beads. If you understand this process, all you need is any wire, and then as Alex showed you, a fire. Nano-coat a wire with a fire, and your life can start. Thank you very much. Is it cool? Can I have some, please? You understand something very simple. All our teachings past years, 2 years, always been informal. There is knowledge seekers which they bring knowledge on the table, and there are hundreds of people in the background, thousands of people watching the live streams, YouTube, live. So if there are any questions on the live stream, can you open, Vince, can you open Rick's channel? Rick's, are there any questions, or we have no questions today? To speakers. Sleep.
Let me have a look there, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you. He's asleep. Rick?
Hello?
He's
Can
asleep.
you hear me? Can you hear me?
Says I was looking for the mute button.
Can you hear me, Mr. Keshe?
Hello?
Can you hear
I
me?
think
Mr. Keshe? Hello?
Can you reach him or you can't reach him? We got a problem.
Hello? Can you hear me?
We can't get him on the meeting. No problem. So
I guess
are
it's
there
not
any
going
questions on the floor? She has always questions to ask. I've never seen her not asking you questions. Wait. We have a microphone. We need a microphone because I hear you, but people on the live streams have to be able to hear you too.
Can you
I'll
hear
tell
me
you
yet
something, the
there,
last
Mr.
live stream
Keshe?
we had 3-4 weeks ago, live online, there were 20,000. So you're heard by about 30,000 people live at the moment.
Oh,
So
another
ask your question.
one thing that I would like to know is that all these teachings that you have given to us today are written in any of your 3 books you wrote. Is there
The
anything?
essence is there. The essence, especially in the last book, the number 3, the essence is in there. If you understand it, now you read it, you can connect it, you understand the connection.
Because I only bought 1 book.
We're not sending you anymore.
No. Second, sorry, I have a friend of mine who has a sister who has cancer, and she was being treated in Milano in the best hospital, which she says is advanced one. She said to me that she spent 5,000 euro for a new medicine that they were trying, but 2 days ago, I knew that cancer was not stopped. So I was tempted to tell her about a possibility of a treatment in Belgium, because I read somewhere that in Belgium there is an experimentation.
I don't know.
It was yours. No.
No, the thing is now we're bringing experts to do the development. I don't do the health side
it's
anymore.
only on
But we are
development.
developing the knowledge and the waste foundation.
But it's something that can happen in the future.
It's not in the future. We have a full knowledge. Now we're trying to make it independently done by the machine than the doctor. Because in a space, as I always said, we can't take all the doctors and medicine with us. So now we're developing a system which is an amalgamation of a lot of other programs that we can add the plasma technology to it to release it. It's getting tested now in Canada.
Okay.
We're getting the results in coming time, and then we see what happens.
Okay, that's all. Thank you.
You're welcome. But remember one thing. Please do not come in touch with the GANs. Try to be the safe way to use it. The power production is straightforward. If you don't understand and it's powerful, the system of the energy is very easy. You can go on the Keshe Foundation website and order the power supplies. When you use it in conjunction with a car, it's a 0 use. No fuel consumption as far as we can see. There are cars which are run in London for 4 months now, hasn't been refueled. And there are other cars now in Philippines, which is getting used. We're waiting for further reports on that, what's happening. So are we connected to the web stream?
Can you hear me, Mr. Keshe? Hello? Can you hear me?
Are connected.
Hello,
They can't?
Mr. Keshe, can you hear me?
Who can't hear me?
Hello? I guess you can't hear me.
I can't hear Rick yet. Okay, ask him to read if there is any question.
Okay,
Okay.
there is a...
You can speak.
There's a question.
And explain how you made your call.
Lay it through.
Let me explain why we are waiting for this. You have this process that you produce energy. You can put a line of connection in the background on both rings, where you can change the orientation of this as a feed line to be in parallel with each other or in series with each other. This is important when you make.
They want me to talk. Hello, Mr. Keshe, can you hear me?
Ah, hi Rick, I thought you were asleep.
Oh, no. No, very much awake.
All right. Let me explain. Rick is part of the webmaster team in Canada. We run the internet across a few countries at the same time. And he's the backbone of everything with Vince. Go on, ask me the question.
Okay, there is a question. Mr. Keshe, can you please guide us to a blueprint of building the items necessary for electrical energy extraction? We have watched the videos and listening in on the live feeds. Still, we are very uncertain exactly how to make these beads and how the energy extraction is. Is there a step-by-step process we can take part of?
The beads from Alex, well documented in past 2 weeks. The beads which you make the energy from, I've seen some people within a couple of hours on the internet, explained it fully, and then I know Alex has gone and corrected it. With a plasma, you have to understand the structure. When you put these springs, I call it, you collect the energy of the environment in these nanomaterials. Look at the structure. The material is black, perfect black. This one is gray. This absorbs different kind of radiation from the environment than this one. So in black, what it means, what is black? It means every field in the environment is absorbed and nothing is released. So the black beads control and absorb every energy in the environment. This material was last year in England shown by scientists in Farnborough to be absorbing 99.999% of all the energy in the environment as one of the best absorbers. So what you're doing, you are creating absorption through the nanomaterials, and because of the tunneling, everything can be created that the fields leak into the free plasma and they go as a superconductor. The plasma condition is now not making the beads, but in so many ways understanding the transformer of the energy right across the tube. So in the beads, what you did, you absorbed the energy from squeezing the GANs in between the plates, sticking one metal in it, and absorbing the energies from outside. Here you have a concentration of energy which gets absorbed. It's the same process as the ring. But here, especially when you put it into a GANs, now you direct where you want the energy of the GANs to flow in. It's a different direct energy transfer. In a coming time, I know the way, let me give a tip to our Chinese friends and a tip to Alex. Alex, listen very carefully. I know you're on the line. I told you a couple of days ago I'm going to shock you. Now I start working. Alex runs the Keshe Foundation in England, and he's a genius. What he did, he took a cup of water, you can see it on the internet, and he put different gases. This is what we call gas. Gas in the nano state, and he put different gases around, CO2, copper oxide. He put a hot dog and a bun on it. And the water has a taste and energy of the hot dog. The Chinese did with the orange and the melon, and I've seen Africans doing it with coconut. When you drink the water, you have that. Now, take the knowledge a step further. Replace the water with the ring. And see if you can transfer the taste through the ring and manifest itself as hot dog. Then, do you need the hot dog? I know Alex works on it. I know he's very close into this work. So, and I know the guys in China, Keshe Foundation, understand this fully. Replace the gases or the nanomaterials or the water with nano layers. Don't forget, I keep on repeating, if you haven't understood, you remember what I said, the conditions you create with this spring, these are the conditions. How much you absorb from the environment, how much you release. The way you bend a spring will create you different conditions. The way you space it will play a role. The way you allow it to turn will give you, if you remember, as we said, the hexagonal or other shape of body. I know, what's the name of the guy in India? Abhinav, if you're listening, very simple. Don't use the beads with chemicals. I've seen you playing with the earth and you say you can make energy out of it. But you should be able, using this knowledge, to convert the energy to any food. Because if you tap this into the earth, the way you're doing your test in India, I was watching today, you decide what you collect in your key. Potatoes or tomatoes or whatever you like. Understand this structure. Understand exactly how it works. And I brought you something to give you an understanding. You remember this thing made months ago? If you look at it, you got a nano layer with a metal in between, and you look at the similarity, and you got the capacitor. You collect the energy. Now, you decide what this capacitor collects, potatoes, tomatoes, sugar, or whatever. You can make this empty system to capacitor to what you use. You need a lot of knowledge and understanding, and I'm sure the guys in Hong Kong and in China, New Keshe Research Center will understand what to do with. Because I've seen some of the work which is going in China. You're not very far, that's why I brought it up. But remember something very fundamental. Everything can be changed to what you need, when you need, at the time of the need. So today, as I promised you, we'll change the course of humanity, and now you have seen it. Beats, highly powerful. If you know how to do this and how to operate it, do not try it on your cars. Do not try them in your house. These are power units. You can do it with a smaller unit for national grid. These are for governments. These are for people who use huge amount of energy, can accommodate energy. They make a smaller version, make a simpler version for your house, for use in the house or in the car. And as I said, if you understood the process, you can install everything you need in one key. Yes, Rick.
Mr. Keshe, it's been suggested to take a 5-minute break so people can have a drink because we understand it's quite hot in the room there.
Anybody can take a drink. It's okay, no problem. If you want to have a break, to have a drink, please, outside everything is available. If you're on the internet, we can show you what you can drink. But if you could make the GANs of it on the other end, you can download the energy, no problem. Would you like some Italian cake? Okay. Are you disconnected? Vince is in panic. Is it okay? Is this solved? Yeah?
Hey, Vince wants me to take a break here, so I'm going to do the share screen and
You have a tea break.
we'll take a 5-minute break, I
Oh,
guess.
we have a tea break. They got a problem, technical problem.
Yeah.
Please help yourself with a coffee or tea or a soft drink, please. Back in 5 minutes. Thank you very much.
Go ahead. Say something, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, I'm waiting for your question.
Okay, good. Let me see here. I'll get back to where the question was.
By the way, thank you very much, Ludmil Stefano, for the translation of the response. I send the English version, and thank you for translating it into Russian.
Nope, I can't find it right now, but there was a question about the screen image that we saw with the 3 reactor setups, and they were wondering what was the purpose of those? Was that for the home or car, or what was that exactly that we were?
What? Which one?
The 3, the screen share that I had up, I can, or that Vince had up rather, of the that one of the 3 reactors. What were they exactly? It wasn't described. Are these for the car or for the house or what exactly? That was the question. Can you hear me? Okay. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
We had a lost internet connection. I'm not sure what happened there.
Okay, you're back on again. You want to ask the question?
I've got an unstable internet connection, apparently. Yeah, the question was about the units that we see on the screen there now. And
Yeah.
what are the purpose of those? Are they for the home or for the car?
It's all the same.
Okay, well, how big are these? Just the Coca-Cola can sort of size, or?
These are the cola size. These are the cola size cans.
Sorry,
Slightly bigger than the cola.
Sorry, your audio is breaking up there, Mr. Keshe. Could you say that again?
I said these are slightly bigger than the cola can size.
Okay, cola can size, I see.
Any other question?
Do you have questions on the live stream there, Guy, that you had one picked out, I think. There's some.
I know 100% you won't have a question from somebody. It's called Kevin Davina.
Yeah, I think he's nearby. He's paying dearly. He's already paying dearly for this question.
He's here himself. Actually, how much does he owe us? Has anybody calculated? I cashed it today. 2.5 million. Too many questions. Anything else, or have we come back for nothing for a break?
Well, we just had a lost connection here, so everything's a bit scrambled. The questions that were in the chat just got lost, and so did the live stream. So we're basically starting from scratch here.
What about in the recording? You don't see it in the background?
It's working now, though, isn't it? Yeah, it's live now. Just
Okay. Are there any questions on the floor? Anybody wants to ask any question?
There's a question, does the Keshe Foundation t-shirt come with the cola reactor?
That's a good idea. We're going to tell the Italian designer.
That would be a good idea, actually.
Giovanni, you heard?
In fact, it would be a good idea to have the Keshe Foundation t-shirts available soon. I think they are going to be available, aren't they, Mr. Keshe?
They're going to be out. Catalog. The file catalog should be with you next week? Probably. Pardon? Probably on Monday, the Italian company will give us the folder. Then you can order.
One person was wondering if they could come directly and pick up a power unit rather than order it.
No, because it comes from different part of Italy. They can't come here. It comes from factory. We don't produce it. We have given the technology to a person, factory, who coordinates all the manufacturers together.
Right.
Any other questions?
There's a question for all of us that are building a system, coils, or beads for the first time. What should we avoid to not put ourselves in harm's way?
I don't know how you make it, but there is not much you can say in how you can put yourself on. So it depends how you produce things and how you assemble it. I always say wear a glove because you're touching caustic. But with the new systems, if you understand, you don't need to touch anything. Let's just keep yourself away from the fire when you're roasting the wires. I tell you one thing, Alex will be on the barbecue stand for a long time this time and he's making these.
Well, restart it and see what happens.
Any other question, or shall we call it a day?
Should be streaming. Seems to be in my end.
He's talking to himself.
Oops, sorry. We're just doing some technical things in the background here. There's another question. In using the bead system in a house, is it correct that the process causes the internal wires to nano-coat and over time will no longer work with conventional electron vibration?
First of all, yes, it does because we've seen it. We have a stripped wires down the bead and we see them being black. But no, it'll carry on working the same. Let's just have a coating. It doesn't make any difference on the system. Actually, it makes it better resistance not to have a fire at home sometimes. Any other questions? Can you tell where these questions come from? Who?
Well, Jack wants to confirm so it won't cause damage then. I guess with the completed system, is it possible to cause damage with it?
Depends how you do it. You should assess it yourself. because I know what they're going to do. Then they're going to go on the internet and say, he said no damages and I did this to me. You're
Or
gonna
someone will try to deliberately try to cause damage.
yeah.
But it generally, though, plasmatic systems seem to be more beneficial than harmful in terms of the effects, let's say. Generally speaking.
You say, not from me.
Okay. Depends who's running the system, I guess. Regarding the 3-ring coil setup, which rings function as magnetical and which as gravitational?
All three behave the same, and all three can be gravitational, magnetical, and they can be reversed and done. The beauty with this one is that this one and this one can have the current flowing this way, and this one opposite. In the future, I'll show you how you can use flat rings for flight base. So you can fly system base. You can make the control these rings that one flow is opposite the other, depending on the strength, how you can go lower or higher. This can do the same thing as the star formation in the box, where it lost its weight again. You can do the same thing with these. You can allow it to descend or ascend.
Okay. There was a question, Mr. Keshe, what do you recommend for the first build? We want to extract electricity in the simplest form possible. It's from Liviu. Liviu says, Mr. Keshe, what do you recommend for the first build? We want to extract electricity in the simplest form possible.
At the moment, if you have no knowledge, don't do anything, but if you have knowledge, the best way at the moment is for you to do the beads, because that kind of been done this, because this is a good knowledge that you don't cause damage. Notice something very important. We have put with this system, especially one bead. And then if you want to have the car key, this is for sale, Alfa Romeo. If you want to have a car key, you still need a kind of reserve to create a balance between the car and the system. And it still has a bead in the back. So you have to find out what suits you. It's the same as with the batteries. And as I was talking during the break to Armin, I said the ones who are building 5,000 or 10,000 milliamp systems, if you understand the work of these beads and they can break through the code, you're talking about 100, 200 amps, 100,000 milliamps. These have you decide the control in a very different way. Notice that what I've done, you have to follow a procedure. A lot of you will fail using the beads. These will fail drastically because the power is too strong and you'll be blowing a lot of fuses and you give up. These are for heavy use and they produce a specific plasma. Most of you will give up on these because you will not be able to understand the process. Some of you will do, and you write a thing for it, how to replicate it, and the other ones do it and will not be able to do it. Because you need a lot of understanding of the motion of plasma, condition of the plasma. If you look, I try to turn it, even with the knowledge we have, you see massive burns. You will see total destruction of the units. in so much that they literally cannot hold. Don't forget to burn a nano-coated layer. In Ghent University, we tried it about 4 or 5 years ago. We put huge amount of current through it with everything the professor could bring on the table to load it. We couldn't burn the line. When you look here, where is it? If I find it, you will see it. One of these is burned beyond. And I have to find it, then I can explain it to you. No, there it is. You see it? This is a wire. The multiple of wire hairs here is totally burnt out, separated. So this, according to what we know from the past experience, we are looking anything over 100 to 1,000 amps. Because it's not a single wire. We tried a single wire in Ghent, and we know we could load it over 5 amps, and as much current as voltage we could. Here it's been so much that a bunch of wires, something like about maybe 10 or 5 or 10 of them, totally broken off and is melted. Don't forget, in a plasma technology, when you put layers together, number of wires creates a huge amount of energy. And you see here another burn. These are plastics which are burned totally out. It's a huge amount of heat, and these kind of supplies, if it's done the way we've done it, you drain into the plasma, you're talking anything over 1,000 kilowatts. Industrial units, these are practical units, but if you use it as a control between the space, the star formation has a lot of application in a rapid directional motion. These are not built for energy. This system is built totally for lift and motion. Because to be able to create a rapid field, you need to create a rapid gravitational or a magnetical field instantaneously. You can't wait for till the field builds up. You are in a condition, so you need to go in a certain direction rapidly. You use the plasma. You've seen it with the rotational reactors in the Sensano that we used to wait a long time to build up fields. Even with the gas reactors, the rotation is irrelevant. Now with the beads, you have access to instantaneous energy. You can create anything, thousands of times gravitational field forces in a given direction instantly. The ones who start using the system, you will come to see something very interesting. You have a light in you can't see that. I think you're going to turn a little bit this way. It's the wrong camera. If you have seen, now some of you will understand in a very good way. You know when you see a light in the sky and suddenly disappears? This is the type of energy it has access to. You tap into huge amounts, thousands of megawatts of energy in plasma condition directly into the plasma. You don't have the delay time. It's instantaneous. You increase the pressure on the free plasma gets directional motion, becomes one, and directly travels in the line of direction. This is what I told you. It's going to be a very powerful system. You've seen it. The way, that's why the wires burn. These wires, each one carries huge amount of current to burn this way in 2 places, and it shows it's a lot of power is plasma dissipated. Any other question?
We have, let me get the live stream. We have a question from Paul. Says, question for Mr. Keshe. From what I've seen, if the nano-coated wire is coiled tight or loose, it is stronger or weaker. What if the coil is coiled in an upward or downward direction over a star formation or the cup of life? Will it be stronger?
You try, let us know.
In other words, if the coiled nano-coated wire is coiled, would that make a difference, is what he's saying?
Yes, it does. It affects immensely the direction of flow, and when you have a single wire, you nano coat and then you coil it with a single wire. The way we have there is literally current flow this way. When you have a bunch of what you call wires and you turn them, one goes this way, the other one goes that way, this one goes that way, or that one goes this.
We just had a glitch there where we lost the internet here, had a collapse of the internet connection. It's back on. Just the last 30 seconds or so, probably.
So what I said is, if you have a bunch of wires twisted into a coil, you have a current flow in different directions in the wire. And this can be dangerous because it can create a higher power pool. Secondly, when you have a number of nano layers next to each other, when the current flows go so high that it can jump between the layers, you will see the sparking and create of different plasmas. If you take it a step further and use a multi-thick system next to each other, you'll understand it's one of the methods to create welding. We can create two plasma lines very high and bring it near the material where you can actually fuse the material inside. Plasmatic fusion, we've written papers about it, you can read it. Any other question?
Okay, thank you. Someone said they'd like to see the key, and if you could bring it close to the camera or hold it still. So, no.
Would you like for me to come and feed you too? Use imagination. You want to see the key problem. Which camera?
We have to focus there. We have to, it's not focused, sorry.
No, I'm trying.
You want to
Okay, now it's focused.
That's the key. That's the bottom of it. You want me to hold it for you?
Oh,
you're not
okay.
going to be inside of it. Do you want to have a quick look? Is that good enough?
He says thank you.
That was good enough? There we are.
And Dave George says, nice tie.
Yeah, it doesn't exist anymore. This is matter of state. There we are. This is the battery. And if you look, we have put a GANs at the bottom for a storage of energy. And there is a layer of film there. But don't forget, you need a plasma, a battery storage to be able to regenerate it. What is science? This is the beauty of the work, which means no patent. I don't have to worry who's going to copy me. Anybody who's a nice man, raise his hand. A very nice man. Any nice people? Anybody thinks is very nice? None of you think you're nice people?
Uh,
You can go back to Canada. No nice people, I've got a gift for you in here. This is a gift from Philippines. Those who know what it means, they know what they want. First of all, when you go out of this building, as you come out of the lift, you turn right, and then in front of you there is a Mercedes. What do you call it? A Smart. It's been fitted with one of the things in here. The guy with a smartphone laughing. Thank you very much for donation. Let's show them. These two gentlemen have donated a smart Mercedes to the foundation, just under your camera. And do you drive a car? You gave us your smart. You still drive a car? You deserve a free system. You take this. You saw what we did yesterday with the battery? Did you see what we did with the battery yesterday? Yeah? This is a gift. Yeah. This is a gift from Philippines. One on each terminal of the battery. You don't need to tank for a few months. You want one? I want one. Are you sure? It's the end of the term. We have chocolates we give. Two. You don't need one. You need two. Do you want one? Do you know what to do with it? Keshe Foundation. 500 euro. You have a smart. Too smart. You mean you're too smart? That's why you're a doctor. You don't need one. Thank you very much. Let's give one to the man from Japan. That's different. You put this, one on the left and one on the right, positive, negative of your car, and you don't need any more fuel. Just on the battery, as the wire comes out. Doesn't matter. There's another one for you. Yes. Which guy? Oh, they already have one. Next time when they come, two, that's good. I don't have any more. It's finished. What are you doing? What are you pitching? I just turned my back here on the table as usual. Yeah, he's got the battery for the car. He's got the car to the key to the car. Okay, so now you've seen how we do it. This is how we teach about laughter, but in a way it's a serious science. Don't show that. You're not supposed to show that. You are the worst student I ever had. He puts everything on the camera. It was so hard for him for a week not to take pictures. Arman, you can now post all the pictures. Yeah, you can do now. It's out. The cat is out of the back. Any other question?
There's a question on to nanocoat the copper wire. Is the fire and water way better than the caustic soda way?
Ask Alex. We tried it last week. Last week, between Marco and I and Arman, we tried to burn the wire with the gas. It didn't work properly, did it? Arman? The one, it didn't work properly, huh? They say you got to do it many times. We tried it. It didn't work. I prefer the caustic because I just put it in and walk away from it. So, it depends. I haven't managed to make a nano coating. Thanks very much. Anybody wants the espresso?
Okay.
We got to bed 3 o'clock last night, and we were out at 6, so we've got to keep the eyes open.
We have a question from Jeff Reisner. Jeff says, so we can create specific people stop chatting so it doesn't keep jumping up, please. So we can create specific coil conditions that lead to the creation of free plasma. Does this mean we can eventually create what you've called the master plasma by using a star formation like a setup of coil structures containing free plasma?
Armand, can we have your base reactor? Can we have the butterfly base reactor downstairs, please? The one with the thing. Do you have the key here? We're going to show you what the question you asked. I'm going to show you. This is the base Armand has made for this system, because then we decide what plasma strength we want to release, because whatever we don't want, but the inner ring is absorbed or is held on to. It's like the Fukushima system. This system is what we've done in there is that we have a container, we fill it up with gas, and then what we've done, we have put a coil ring inside it. So we have limited the field strength because this coil decides what fields are absorbed. What is left, it depends how it's been set. It can be magnetical or gravitational, and limitation on the plasma. This is a specific condition. You can use it to filter for cancer, for example. You don't let other energy from other cells to be reduced. You specifically decide what plasma strength is gravitationally and magnetically available that fits a given cancer cell strength, because each cancer has a strength of a specific condition, and what Armand has made, it's more or less in that position, but you can filter the space you want to go to, what the space is only to stay. Marco has done the same thing with this. This center pipe, as you see, the solid pipe, this is filled with gas of a specific material. So we have put a specific gravitational magnetic field inside it, and is limited to what is already inside. So you can fix to a flight only to Earth gravitational magnetic field that you don't put outside the atmosphere, because then you dictate how much of it and where you want to be. This is one of the most complicated systems. It looks very easy, but if you can understand how to use it, it's got every application more or less you need. Next question.
Well, Mike Najaf is telling everybody, please do not connect these wire loop systems to the grid system. The power from one set of loops could slam the nuclear reactors in your country, if any. Be responsible with this power. Is that true?
I don't know. We warn the governments. Now you understand. I'm Mike Najaf, very directly giving you the warning, but depends what it is and how it is and what you're expecting to do. Because these are literally runs into mega and kilowatts. This is how complicated our systems are. Is it going in or coming out? Oh, coming out. This in it, it has the ring, no? Yeah. You don't put it in. Can you tell me which one? Is there any gas in them? Or you didn't fill them up? No? You didn't put it in? So what it is, you put inside coil ring of the specific strength with your gas of what you have, then you decide what want to be out that you want to connect with. So you clearly specify with the ring inside the field which you allow to enter or exit. So the ring becomes your filtering, limitation above and below. So when you saw the black ring or the gray ring and other nano-coated material, if you remember, for example, this is the same copper, but has a different condition on it. So you filter this out of the fields of the GANs. So now you have the capability to have a plasma which has all the properties and then filter it. Italians are all going home, it's lunchtime. Thank you very much. Any other question?
There's a question, the reactor systems that we have bought, have they been shipped yet, or is there still postage problems?
Which reactors?
I'm not sure what they're talking about. There's, the way I
The
understand it, there's a...
it should be shipped within the next 14 days, I've been told by Sohail from China. And energy systems will deliver before end of September. That's why it says 60 to 90 days. And if we see failure in China, we support it ourselves from Italy. From now on, there is a delay at the moment, not because of us, through the restriction which is caused for us by PayPal, but we take in the orders, we deliver the orders, and the material will be shipped, the staff formation, mainly from Italy from now on. We support the Italian side heavily, and whatever China produces, they deliver the orders. We are not taking Chinese orders off the line. It gives you a different option, different colors. So anybody produces anything around the world to do with the Keshe Foundation, they still get the same right on the website. But from more or less mid-September, there should be no reason for any delays because the materials will be shipped directly from Italy. We monitor everything, or it can get backed up by China. The plate starts getting manufactured here. Armon has changed the CO2 kit to a universal CO2 kit. And I prefer to deliver the new universal kits than the CO2. Even there is a delay on it, you gotta wait because the units in China are in a way, not the way that you can cover the top and the bottom to get the conditions you want. The new units in Italy will give you that condition. But will be shipped sometime in September, they call it mid-August, September, when the production is finished. We have a huge problem with China at the moment. And Sohail decided to change the direction and way of delivery. He's trying to help to sort it out, but whatever delay is, we'll meet it ourselves in the coming months, in the coming weeks, because the production is transferred to Keshe Foundation website, to Keshe Foundation itself, not outside.
There was a question, Mr. Keshe, about the Swedish government. Have they been informed about the Keshe technology? In that case, who in the government's been informed?
I don't know. It's the responsibility of the Keshe Foundation Sweden to answer to the government, not us. You have to inform them. As you know, we received a letter from His Excellency President Putin on Friday, and I responded as we read on Tuesday, and it was translated and sent to Kremlin in a separate way. Yesterday, the day before, I sent it directly to Kremlin through the same channel on Wednesday night, actually Tuesday night. And now we wait for the next steps from His Excellency President Putin to lay down the condition, if what we put down, for the peace roadmap to be taken into the floor of the United Nations or on the floor of Security Council. And we will wait. The minute we know what's the decision in Kremlin, we will respond accordingly. And as we know, His Excellency President Putin has already forwarded the case to the Duma, and Arman is responsible for communication with the officers in Duma. They're on holidays till 15th of September. But don't forget the instruction has come from Kremlin, from His Excellency President Putin. So I think it must be favorable for us in that direction. We have requested, as usual, from the White House for a response. And in the coming days, we will have the response from the Iranian government and we publicize it. Next question.
Well, I think we're sort of winding down here, aren't we? But Jeff Reiser just states that I think we can adjust the coiled rings similarly to how we adjust the cup of life by transferring a specific strength to the free plasma inside. No different from how you transfer the energy of the banana or hot dog into the water or the GANs inside the cup. In this way, you can create coils and free plasmas of different strengths.
Don't forget what you just said. It goes back to what we thought on Tuesday regarding the transfer of energy by water into the reactor and not by the GANs. So it applies the same. Some of you go back, please, on the Chinese teaching of Tuesday. I explained this. I'll try to explain this again. You understand. This is important for most of you who've been building these GANs reactors, or you've been building the small GANs reactors or the cups. Understand, remember what you brought on the table, especially our Chinese colleagues in the past few weeks. And then we've seen it. I lost my pen. Here it is. And then it was brought up by understanding of other people in Africa and South America, that you put a cup, you put a GANs of different gases, and you locked in the energy. This water, then you put a melon on top, and you had a flavor of the melon here. Don't forget, these gases you put across around the cup. If you look at the top view, these gases you put around, CO2, CuO, FeO2, whatever, the water inside did not only take the flavor and the taste of the melon, has taken all the gravitational magnetic field of all these elements inside it too. So instead of, in your course, if you remember when you put a copper oxide, all the copper oxide got stuck to the wall, and then the other one is stuck to the wall, and they're stuck to each other in layers. You have this position. So now replace this water with these materials. What you're going to get? A reactor which now you don't have a solid matter anymore to stick to the wall, but you have a composition of magnetic fields, dynamic, and it creates a bigger gravitational magnetic field. You never lose it. At the same time, you got away with the static material inside your core because the energy transfer is complete. Some of you will fail to do this because you haven't sorted this out. Your fields cancel each other out, or as a mass, you have created a field which does not match your environment. So now you don't need to go and make a GANs. Once you made a GANs, you keep on copying it, and all your reactors have exact matching fuel. This is important. This is before, if you remember, we always explained how you're going to get feeling for all the four cores, the star formation base and the top. This way, if you can manage to get it right, because you use the same water, all your reactors are perfectly matched in loading. So when you use them in this formation and you use the gas here the same, you'll find out it's very easy to control. You can change these gas containers into the water of the same contamination of plasma. Good morning. Our knowledge seekers are baffled. So you don't have a problem in loading, you'll have a problem in control, you don't have any problem. And the magnetic gravitational field you produce is from one corner to another, you can dictate the strength. You go from hydrogen to helium, next one up, carbon, next one up, next one up. You take from the out to the inner, you make it even numbers or you make it odd numbers. So now you understand how to make gas of the material from each section. Understand? So here in the inner ring, you create a deuterium. In the next one, you create a helium. You take one or you add before it or after it. The production of the material this way becomes very, very easy. You have a ring. You have an outer ring. You have everything exactly matching. So this is your base first. Base is your hydrogen. Helium. Next one. Next one. Next one. Here, before it, takes away from it. The one after it adds to it. You understand? When you use your sticks, yeah, you decide this is a helium +1, or you have helium +2, or you have double helium, 2 carbon. You understand? You have a carbon, 2 from outside, you increase. Then you can make the gravitational magnetic field of the isotopes. This is how you start. Then at this point, because you connected the strength of your field, you can tap through the, what do you call it, these plasma rings, the material you need at the point of demand. So when you have 3 rings, you produce multiples. Now you don't have 12, because then you go into building heavier materials, because here there's a limitation. The way you connect the 2, now you start totality of all +1, +2. You understand? 6 ring, 6 reactors, 12, 24. When you connect it like this, you don't go to create 24. You start the plasma from here because you already added 24 to the circuit. You understand how it works? Something you have to remember, because it's the first time you start winding these things up. The way you wind the wires is very important. Clockwise, anti-clockwise, going from one end to another, or you're coming from one end to another. There is a big difference. I was trying to explain this to Armin. This is, if you have 2 of them, I tried to explain. Okay, we have 2 of them. This is gravitational, this is magnetical from one place. And you wind it both this way. If you put another one the same way in front of it, you create a continuation of it. You have to wind it the other way. Now, because this is winded this way, is gravitational magnetic field of another source, another point of reference. Now you understand. Yeah? So this is important, how you wind it, and secondly, the direction of the wind. Or you wind one this way and wind the other way, one becomes magnetical, one becomes gravitational. But when you make another system, you have to do the same thing, but wind it the other way around, that you get everything perfectly correct. Because don't forget, you're dealing with the flow of plasma, you're not dealing with the matter state. Understand? There's a big difference, huge difference. Next question. Why are you sorry? A microphone? You speak Italian? Oh, I understand Italian fully. That's why I can say only buonasera. And it's one more. Okay, you say you got the
Yes, thank you very much. Nel momento in cui avvolgo in senso orario, dall'altra parte vedo in senso antiorario, quindi è un problema di posizionamento piuttosto che di avvolgimento.
Because
position
of when make the clockwise or anti-clockwise, if I stay in one position in front, the spiral is clockwise. But if I stay to the opposite part,
no, it doesn't go. It's according to the way you look at it.
È come praticamente il problema è come lo guardi. Nel momento in cui ti posizioni davanti, devi seguire il flusso dell'energia secondo l'apparato. Mr. Keshe, probably I translate that it's important the flow of the energy of the system, not of the person that look.
No, because it's the way you wind this, the energy flows.
Sì,
because what is gravitational to you and me is both sides the same. And what is magnetical to you and me is more than the same. This doesn't matter which way you look at it, which way you approach it.
Dice non è importante perché quello che vedi tu come gravitazionale, come magnetico, lo vedete entrambi, quindi non c'è una differenza sostanziale nell'osservare. Sì, ma tu lo stai vedendo in termini fisici, lo devi vedere in termini di flusso del plasma dove lo stai applicando. Quindi, the problem, he says, Mr. Keshe, that if he look the clockwise from his position, it's different if he was in the opposite part.
It's irrelevant.
Non è
I'll
rilevante.
explain to you something.
Ti spiegherò qualche
If
cosa.
I come from this side of the earth
Se io vengo
and
da
you
questo-
come from the other side of the
se
earth,
tu vieni dall'altra parte della
does the
Terra,
gravity and magnetic field of the earth changes? No.
non c'è un cambiamento della gravità.
You're looking at matter state.
Tu stai guardando nello stato materiale, non nello stato plasmatico. He asked, how can is possible to understand what is the sense of gravitational and what's magnetical during the
Because the way you do one matter stands, let me explain it this way. This is going and is going. This is coming this way.
Questo va in quest'altro senso.
And this one coming this way.
E quest'altro va in quest'altro senso.
Even the dome, look,
Da dove lo guardi?
they all have a directional flow. It's not this way,
direzione di flusso.
it's that. Or this. Magnetic field will work. Not from just the magnet. When you wind it, you get the position of the principal star. The way you wind.
Hello?
We missed a little bit of that. It froze.
That's, you're talking about matter state. Doesn't count.
Hello, hello?
The work on plasma. You got this and you got that. No, we all go that way. So the important thing is to understand when you wind your springs, this is the same situation if you remember when you were making the nano wires. What did I tell you? When you cut the nano wire, remember which way you lay them down, that when you make your system, it's all the same flow. When you make springs for the conformation, let me explain to you something very interesting. When you make your springs, the springs creates a tunnel of field. And this dictates which way the field flows. So when you put a start from here, means any energy from here will go that way. Because before you roll it, the field was this way. And now it follows the same pattern. The field is that way. When you roll it, then it goes the same. It's because this point of reference is the stuff, what do you call it, the principle. You decide which way the field goes. You're not dealing with matter anymore. It doesn't go this way anymore. Yeah.
Da entrambi, sì, parlo in italiano, Giovanni. Questo conferma quello che dicevo poco fa, perché se io sono diciamo, sto avvitando la spira in senso orario, ipotizzo che il flusso va da me verso lei. Viceversa, se io sono dalla sua parte, sto vedendo il flusso sta arrivando a me.
You want to pull me, but when I do it, I'm coming to you. It's two different things. It's totally different thing in a plasma field.
Hello?
You can pull me,
yes,
or I can come to you.
Yes.
When you pull me, I don't want to come, I sit. But when I want to come with my energy. So I'm the principle, not you. Just because you throw a hook doesn't mean you're going to catch.
You don't think, no, understand.
Soon you'll understand. When you go upside down in the space, you will understand quickly.
Nel tempo, sì. Entro le prossime ore.
Okay. Any other question?
Non è fisica questa.
Any other question? Rick, do you have any more questions?
There's a question on that last diagram. Is the spring wired one over the other in opposite directions?
Yes.
Okay.
One is gravitational, one magnetical. Don't forget, you are not making a spring on its own anymore. I know where your problem comes. You have a problem. Let's solve this problem before you get into it, before it becomes a problem. Don't forget, when you make these springs, You are excuse me, can you start the discussion in the back? When you make the springs, you connect somewhere. You connect it to a supply, or you connect it to another cell. So you already have decided which one is magnetical and what is the gravitational. When you put another spring across it, you're already feeding the gravitational. This is important because you look at it still in a matter state. If you look at here, there is a connection. If you look here, you have a connection. The center one is gravitational. The other one is magnetical. Where is he, the cameraman? We lost the picture. Vince, you're gonna lose 10 kilo by the time we go back to Canada tomorrow. Right? Or just go through the wall across there, it's easier. You know,
I can't get that video to spotlight for some reason.
Just wait, just wait. Ring dong. Vince, can you change the picture, please?
I'm trying to change it, Mr. Keshe. It won't change.
No, it's Vince. He's moving. You should see him. I stand here. He's like a rat. Goes from one to the back and forth. He's going to lose about 10 kilos today before he goes back. Okay. Can we go? Can you see it? Hello? Why is it so dark? Vince? Oh, yeah. Okay, we're there. You see, this is partially, I explained this before, and it was overlooked with the Alex's system. And I explained this in the teachings with the picture of the Earth, and I drew it on the board, if you remember, with a pen, where the field of the sun comes, which one is gravitational, which one is magnetical. When you make the beads, when it feeds from the front to the back, the main one is always gravitational, and the other one is a magnetical. That's why you get them two parallel together, because then the field forces the gravity, which is more, keeps on feeding itself, and then you feed the next cell. So what you actually create on these places here or on the other beads is gravitational magnetical. Here in this one, this is gravitational, this is magnetical, and this is the total field. It's a big difference. It's a big difference between this structure and this structure. Here you have smaller pieces and you keep on adding field forces. Here, this one there. Oh, this one. Go back a bit, go back. Okay, so what happened? This one is magnetical, this one is gravitational, this is magnetical, and this is the total field balance. Here, your magnetical and gravitational is pieces, adds to the next one. That's why they're so powerful. Yeah, but you have a small difference that in so many ways, every turn of a full circle in a bit like this plays as a strengthening itself, because it has to overcome. If you put these rings next to each other, you have totally different property than the gap they have now. The distancing, because it changes the flow of the plasma inside the ring. The spacing counts. The opening of the bead, or what they call it, the gaps of the turn, they all play a game now. How much you tighten it, it counts. That's why I said a lot of you will fail because you don't take this thing into consideration. Because how close this gets, let me show you. Yeah, you have more compact. You have a thinner field. You allow other fields to come in to interact or leak out, because now you open the cage. Here, the cage is closed. Only what plasma goes through the pipe counts. These are all the things you have to consider before you do anything. And then you find out a lot of you will fail because somewhere, because of the tightness, you're trying to be so good, we're still not nano-coated. So you're going through the matter state. Excuse me, I'm sitting down. He says, I know how to do that. Come on, stop chickening out. You teach everything. You go to sleep. Goodbye from me, and goodbye from him.
No. Or you need to do the razor and rotate it so it will create equal spacing, so you're not going to have.
You understand the point. What Arwen says, to make sure you have a perfect gap, you get a small razor and you go through each just rotate it. Then it creates a standard gap between everywhere, and there is enough gap for everything to be nano-coated. Okay. Anything else? Any other news? Any other question? We can go home now.
I think we should.
Lunch break.
I think we should give you a break. Yeah.
Wait.
The last practical question is, I want to order the wine for my key to my car.
We can't hear the question.
We have to manufacture it.
What was the question?
She wants a key for her car.
This is a practical question for me because I'm not able to do all that things there.
So you wait.
I want to buy.
You go and buy the power unit for the what do you call it? For the cigarette lighter.
Ah, cigarette lighter.
Yeah, cigarette lighter. This one. This one.
E quanto costa? Ha detto, he asked me how much.
Okay, thank you very much for today. Thanks for our live stream. Thanks for the knowledge seekers across the world. I thank you for being with us in the past term. Have a nice summer holiday time. We still carry on, as we said, on the Thursday's teaching. Every Thursday we will not break the law. And if I'm not there, Dirk and Vince and the others shall do. And we come back somewhere after the 15th of September. And I hope we still carry on seeing the new developments with the what are called plasma pipes. And then we'll see how we go to the next step. If we have a breaking news or anything special, we'll come back on live stream without announcement as usual. And otherwise, enjoy your holidays. You had a rough time with me for past 3 months. I hope you learned a lot. And don't forget, the most important thing, the purpose of Keshe Foundation is for the establishment of peace. We're introducing so many technologies to make man free, to be free, that he cannot be dictated by no man to fight, and leads to the elusive peace. So don't get so, what I call, focused on energy or food. Focus in what you can make out of it that adds to the Keshe Foundation. Don't forget, I still stick to my word. If we don't achieve some sort of start resolution by 21st of October, I will stop a satellite anywhere in the world of my choice, and not of anybody else. And we will give you exactly where it is, what we done with it, and where it's standing. World peace has one option: forward movement, at least a start. If we see a start, or at least initiation of the first step towards a world peace by number of nations, we stop and we concentrate, we support. And if I don't see, I take it as on my own responsibility to show the power of the technology that, understood by the nations, the time of war is over. Enjoy your holidays.
Thank you. Thank you for the years teaching, Mr. Keshe. On behalf of everyone around the world, I'm sure there's many people that are thanking you for all the work and teachings that have been brought out this year. So it's been a very good program.
Thank you indeed. See you after 15th of September. Otherwise, we learn from each other next Thursday.
I'd like to propose that Richard K. Van and I come up there and we all say hi to the live stream.
To who?
The live stream.
There we are.
Fix your camera, please.
You were wondering where these guys disappeared. Now you see them one by one. This is Vince. He's taken a long flight from Canada to be here. We have Kevin Davina come all the way from Austria to be here. Come on, Richard. Thank you very much. They came back all the way to be here. Thanks very much indeed. Thank you, Ahmed. Keshe Foundation, that's Richard. Without these people, live teaching every day, 6 hours a day, 7 hours a day is an impossibility. There is a man behind there. He is the backbone of everything we do. We ask for it. It just says it's a magic man. We call him Father Christmas. Whatever you wish will happen. He is Father Christmas. And so, but don't forget, this Father Christmas has promised us a Ferrari next week. A red Ferrari. He showed us the picture. We hope to be able to do it. Thanks very much. Thank you. Have a nice day. And we see you, what we call in September, more or less, except this one. All by tomorrow go back to their countries. United States, Slovenia, this guy's Italian, he hasn't been home. Austria, Canada, and Holland. Keshe Foundation exists in more than 120 nations and territories. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Okay.
Oh, we can't forget about Rick. Rick in the background there, thank you so much for helping out in the background.
Yes, that's right. Takes quite a team to put this together, no doubt about it. I think, Vince, you've probably lost 10 pounds on this just today. Half from the heat and half from the stress. Okay, I guess that wraps it up for today. This is the 72nd Knowledge Seekers Workshop for Thursday, July 30th. And we'll be back next week with another Knowledge Seekers Workshop as usual. Otherwise, the online teachings will be shut down till September. So, once again, thank you everybody for attending.